Good morning, POTA family. Whiskey Alpha 3 November out here at US-12715 Gibson County State Fishing Lake. We're going to do some POTA, and you're going to notice a couple things different about this video. The first thing that I'm most excited about is I got a tripod for my camera. So no more trying to just balance it places. I get to actually show you what's going on, better angles, things like that. Also has obviously kind of a selfie stick mode, so I'm able to just show you what's going on better. So let's show you the setup this morning. I've got one other cool thing going on, so check this out. So right here, this little adapter came in for me. Now I've done 90% of the work before I rolled the camera because I didn't want to bore you with all that. We've got the X6200, the XPA125B, Chromebook for logging, that Gabil tripod with the 35 foot, I believe it is, radials. There are 4 10-meter radials on there. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this adapter that you just saw, if it'll focus there. This will screw in with the same thread pitch to this base as that Gabil antenna. And that Gabil antenna is fantastic, but it is a size challenged antenna, and the bands have not been too great lately. That's why we're set up to run some serious power today, and why I have this out. You might be familiar with this. This is the Radioddity HF-009. I do not have the 10 yet. I hope to get it in the future. But what you can see is that's the same thread pitch. So we are screwing that Radioddity vertical onto this Gabil base to get a full-size antenna. Now, you might be asking why I'm doing this, and that's because if you're not familiar with the HF-009, this antenna is only a ground spike antenna out of the box. So what I've done with this adapter is give myself tripod access for this antenna. So there it is, screwed in. I don't have the top whip extended yet. Let me set you down for just a minute to do that, if I can work this tripod appropriately. There we go. Hopefully that'll hold there. So I'm just going to put that whip up, and then we'll analyze it with the VNA and try to get on the air. There we go. So this is obviously not the most stable thing in the world. That tripod's only, I don't know, 18 inches across roughly. So much wind would be too much for this for sure. So this is definitely a calmer weather situation antenna setup. However, I can take that same adapter, take the base from my JPC dipole, and create a performer out of that with this antenna, which is a little taller and a little more friendly on 20 than the JPC elements. So let's get this set up and tuned. I'm looking at 40 meters, I think, for first thing this morning, and we'll go from there. So let's check it out over here on the VNA. See what we got here. So we are obviously nowhere near where we need to be. Let's bring that down. Just that slider there. You'll have to excuse my camera angles as I get used to this this setup. So our SWR is still really high up in the band. We're actually outside of the amateur band portion at 7.5 for resonance. So we'll just take that slider a little bit lower, about there. This antenna does also do 60. It doesn't do 80 meters, which is an addition. I think I went too low there. Of the new HF-010, is it does support 80 meters. This is my only gripe about this antenna is, of course, the manual back and forth tuning. So let's see here. There you go. That is incredibly resonant, right about the FT8 frequency, but of course that is not the plan today. I want to run that a little lower, so let's change some settings on the screen here. We're going to lower that stop stimulus to the edge of the band. It's a little better. I like to run around 7043, and you can see 1.275. Absolutely not terrible, but it could be better. So we're going to make it better. We're going to titch it just a little bit. Let's see here. Oh yeah, there we go. Much better. About 1.4 at that point. And the XPA-125 does have a tuner in it, so if we need it, we can definitely finish that up with that. But I am more than happy with those numbers. Of course, some of that is because I am inside of the field, the electromagnetic field of that radio. Because as you can see, those radials, of that antenna, those radials go out quite a ways. That one actually goes over the hillside right there a little bit, and that one is almost the same. Let me show you. You can actually see where it ends there. So that winder is the end of that radial. This winder is actually over the hill a little bit. You can't quite see it, but that's it. There's an airplane going by right behind my antenna. I don't know why it's so warbly. I don't know what that's about. There it is. That's awesome. So, let's get set up here. Oh, hang on. My SWR has gone wonky. It's too high now. See, that's the problem with being inside of the resonance field for the antenna. Huh. I may have to relocate. I don't want to, but I may have to relocate over there to the park bench. I've activated from that park bench many a times. It's a beautiful day out here to be playing radio. There's not a lot of options though, so it's either set up tailgate style over there near the lake shop, or hang out on one of these three, actually I'm sorry, there's only two, there's three pads, but two park benches set up at this campground. Where I usually tend to activate from here, you can actually see off in the distance, right there. So you see that white SUV in the distance? I actually set up over there quite often. That is the dam in the distance, and there is a pull-in there. I think it's kind of for access to the lake and the spillway area. And there is a gate there that is closed. However, the pull-in area is within the park boundary according to mapping data. So we're going to call that within bounds. Let me spin you guys around here and try to get this tripod figured out. So again, excuse my ignorance here with this. My plan is to point you guys at the radio and such once I get on the air, kind of K4SWL style. So I'm going to call it good with that SWR. We're just going to hook up the coax from the antenna to the amp. And again, I may not need the amp, I don't know. I'm going to run barefoot to start, and we'll just see how things go. I'm not going to crank the X6200 up today. That radio can do 8 watts, but I'm going to keep it at just the built-in 5 that it does off of battery. The 8 watts I've found can definitely cause some issues with heat, which I know is kind of a common issue with this radio. Running any digital or CW mode. So let's see here. Hook up my coax to the radio. Alright, so that's in play. Wake the Chromebook up here. I'm going to go ahead and plug that back in. Could use a little charge. There we go. So we're just going to toss that VNA out of the way. I have some coffee this morning. This is Black Rifle Coffee Company's Atomic Llama. Really good. It's a pretty sweet coffee, which isn't always my typical way of doing coffee, but it gets the job done. Alright, so I got that hotspot turned on. Sorry about that, it nixed the video. Little activity this morning. The lake shop's open for the season, so there's somebody over there getting that going. Some residents of the nearby neighborhoods out strolling for the morning. It's a beautiful day to be outside playing radio and doing anything, really, so I can't say I blame them there. Let's get this radio turned on. Which, if this battery happens to be dead, I have both a spare and an easy way to power the radio with either one of these. Probably go with the Jackery, just because the Jackery has a limit of about 100 watts straight on the 12 volt, and I don't want to push that. So, okay, this battery's fully charged, so we're good. If you watched my last video, I went out to Thousand Acre Lake, part of the lakes and lagoons on the air system, and activated. And I was out there for a little while, and it took a lot of power. I ended up running this same setup, the XPA-125, at full power because I was just not having much luck. Now, there is a breeze picking up a little bit this morning, so I'm going to have to try to keep an eye on that antenna. Like I said, I don't completely trust that tripod, but so far it seems okay. If it does get wild, I do still have the ground spike for that antenna right here in the back of the truck. So if it comes down to it, I can always, of course, do it the old school way. This area is very gravelly. It was built up and is designed for campers, RVs to park here. So there is grass and soil, but it's only about 2 or 3 inches thick. And then it's like driveway gravel below that. So sometimes it can be a little challenging to drive a ground spike. But I'm going to try to roll this way. This is really just kind of a testing thing today to make sure that this setup works. It shows it is tunable. I did see that from the VNA, so we're good to go there. Give me just a second and we'll get on the air. Alright, so let's get our logbook created now that the Chromebook is connected to the hotspot on the phone. Let's see here. Turn on that speaker so you guys can hear. Okay. Ooh. I'm showing a really high SWR. I'm showing like almost 4 to 1 on the radio here. So let's go ahead and plug in the amp, and I'm going to use the tuner portion of that to make sure everything is kosher here. Oh, and I need, hang on, I forgot the accessory cable that goes from the amp to the radio. All that really does is it does the push to talk, and it also does the band changing. So let me find that real quick. Alright, I found it. Wasn't where I expected it to be. That's my fault. I'm really good at putting stuff where it doesn't belong. You can ask my wife about that. So this is that cable if you haven't seen it. It's like a TRS on the end there, similar to a headphone jack. And then I think it's a 9-pin. No, it's a 6-pin. Similar to like an S-video plug. Sorry, I'm not well versed in specific plug types for some of that stuff. Let's get WRL up. You know the deal there. This is going to be a dual activation, dual program activation, so I'm going to upload to Lakes, Lagoons, and Parks on the Air. So if you hunt me today, if you hunt me today, you will get credit for both, even if you don't necessarily participate in both. Let's see, there is that control plug. Get that plugged in. There we go. Alright, so turn the amp off for a second. ATU on. That's weird, it's not showing any. It's showing power in but not power out. I did hook up the coax this time. I've been known to do that. Forget to hook that up. I'm going to throw some weight on that tripod. I'm a little concerned as the breeze is picking up this morning. Okay, it was still an ID10T error, so my geniusness left the radio in 20 meters, and I was trying to figure out why I had a poor SWR on an antenna that's manually tuned for 40. Leave it to me. So I'll show you what I did here. I took my little buddy heater and stuck it there just on the tip of that tripod, and I might turn it this way just so it's a little more out of the way. There we go. All I'm really trying to do is just put a little weight on that so that it's less tip happy. Yeah, that's much better. I was just a little concerned. The wind is kind of blowing that way. That is northerly, so that southern wind is nice and warm this morning. I don't think I'm going to need the heater at all. So we'll just throw that on there. That is quite tall. I would say every bit of 12 feet by the time you put it on that tripod. So that's nice. All right, so let's see how this looks here now. Let me try to bring this here where you can see the radio a little bit. Let's see, app, SWR scan. Oh yeah, look at that, flat across the 40 meter band. Beautiful. That's what we're looking for. So now I do have the screensaver turned on, so this screen is going to turn off after like a minute to help save battery. This radio does tend to burn through batteries, so I have that turned on. So that part unfortunately won't be as entertaining, but I'll still show you myself keying here and things. Let's bring this up just a little bit. There we go. So again, I have that Radioddity HF-009 pointed at you for audio. I did bring my spare key if this one acts up on me. Logging. Let's take another sip of that coffee. All right. Let's create a logbook. New POTA activation. There it is. We're going to do 7.0435. And then let's QRL that. Let me make sure that camera angle still looks nice. Oh yeah, that's nice. Cool. All right, QRL. And I have my headphones for myself here. Just the good old cheap Skull Candies, but they do great. I'm going to go ahead and pull up POTA as well as the RBN. So we can make sure that my spot takes. Set that to 40. There's no one on 40, so we'll see how that goes. The way the bands have been, I kind of figured it would be rough. W3GTR was just out yesterday, and he had to do 40 in the middle of the day, so I don't know. We'll see here. Let's turn that down just a little bit. It's kind of loud in my ear. Lock that frequency in. There we go. One more. Alright, I haven't heard anybody the 4 or 5 times I've called QRLs, so I think we are good. Like I said, there was only one station on 40 doing POTA anyway. Oh, let's also go to Lakes on the Air, since this is a qualifying reference. Yeah, that breeze is picking up. Makes me a little nervous. I do have a few other things in the back of the truck I could throw on there to really make sure that thing doesn't move, because that is quite a fulcrum to knock that thing over as tall as it is. That's really annoying. It was so calm when I came out here. So there is one other park on the air, GB0035 Crowdy Reservoir in the UK. He's at 7095 sideband. So let's get myself in here. I gotta remember, I don't remember the reference number here for LOTA, so I'm gonna have to look real quick. Let's see here. So the LOTA reference is 0459. So we'll go back home. Oop. I'm not doing too good with this touchpad this morning. Post spot. We'll start with that reference because that's easy for me to forget. US 0459. There we go. My call sign, my frequency, set it to CW, publish. So then if we double check that page, there I am. Nothing on RBN yet. My spot is there on POTA. So let's do it. First RBN spot, Northern Illinois. I'm going to do one more CQ, and if I don't get an answer, we're turning the amp on. Let's do it. We're going to get this today. All right, amplifier. John in Missouri. All right, I had to turn the power down because I was pushing almost 200 watts out of this thing because it's it's like a factorial amp, so it, you know, if it multiplies by a certain factor. So if I put 5 watts into it, CW, it puts out like almost 200 watts. So I have to turn my RF down. There we go. So at 1 watt, we're putting out over 100 watts of CW. All right, that was James in North Carolina, N4 B&O. AK9A. All right, switching keys. Stupid silver key just sucks. This is AK9A, Robert in Wisconsin. Thank you for the luck, sir. Alright, so this is also a Putikeeg key, but this one just, I don't know, it works better. The only problem I have with it is if you touch the side of it at all, it keys. So you got to be careful. But it at least freaking works. This thing, man, it's always just giving me fits. And one of these days, it's going to piss me off enough, I'm going to just throw it in the lake and be done with it. Coffee sip. I was really excited there for a second. I thought I had TN4 BNO, and that would have been the Congo and quite a DX that I would have been very happy about. But unfortunately, I was just messing up the call a little bit. Let's turn it down to 1/2 watt on here. That takes my output down to 90. So yeah, we're still not running QRP by any means. And that SWR is fantastic. Yeah, that's awesome. Got it. K4WOP. James in PA. WB9IGS. Yep, Doug in Indiana. Give you a 559, you're a little light. $599. Thank you very much, Doug. N8JY. Sorry, John. It has been a minute since I've been at the radio, so I am struggling this morning. Plus, different key technically, really making it hard. Thank you for Michigan. Let's see what my RBN looks like. Oh yeah. So we've got, let's see here, PA, 3 in Northern Illinois, and Kansas City. I really figured I'd have a little bit more since I'm running full power today, but such is the nature of the band sometimes. There's a guy fishing down there on the lake. It'd be a nice day to be out there if I had a boat. Good. Making sure you guys can hear that. So we've got 6 in the log so far. N9 GVP, I believe. Back to you, Thomas in Illinois. Nice. Thank you, sir. So that's 7. I'm really aiming for 10. NU0I, I think. Kent in Iowa. They're not flying in, but the calls are coming. Let's look at that map real quick. Oh yeah, a very northerly favor this morning. We got 2 to go on 40, then we'll switch to 20 and see how wild it gets. Actually, I'm going to go to 30, a band I don't normally use, and see how that goes. Whiskey 4, Papa Juliet Whiskey. Back to you, Jeff. Thank you, sir. Was that a park-to-park? I think that was a park-to-park. WRL didn't pick it up as one, but that doesn't mean it wasn't. It may not be spotted yet. So that was 9. 1 more to go, and then we'll go to 20. Or sorry, 30. We'll do 30. I want to see how 30 does today. Whiskey 2, Mike Sierra Whiskey. Should be Mark in New Jersey if I got that right. All right. So that was Mark. Thank you so much for getting in the log today. That's 10. Let's see. I'm going to turn that amp off to save the Lifeboat 4. We go up to 10. I'm not going to lie, I might have to look at the band plan on that one because I don't do a lot of 10. Turn that down for now. Alright, 10 megahertz on 30 meters. So, CW portion in particular is 10.10 to 10.15. So, I haven't even used 30 meters since I got this replacement Xiegu, apparently. Oh, that's right, this is channelized. No, it's not. I just had it, I didn't have it set to CW mode. This is a CW only channel. That's what I'm looking at. Okay. So 10143. Ooh, that's a quiet band. Alright, let's see. SWR scan. So right now it's high. Obviously that antenna was tuned for 40 meters, not 30. So all I need to do is bring this dude up. I'm going to bring it up to about there, I think. And then we'll use the SWR scan on the Xiegu. Let me shorten this up here. There we go. So, let's see here. Get back to my WRL. The ad block popped up saying that it's blocked a certain amount of ads. Okay, so let's see. SWR scan, start. That's better. Still a little high. What is that, about 2? So let's bring that up a little more, about like that. Let's see what that looks like. Oh, that took it back up. I think I went too high. So let's take her back down. Let's take it to about there, about in the middle of the 2 adjustments that I've made, and try that. Ooh, that's worse. That's way worse. Alright. So, let's take it all the way up to there and see how that does. This would be easier if I was using the Nano, but I don't want to unhook everything if I can avoid it. Oh, there we go. Oh, yeah, money. Look at that. That's about as flat as you're going to get that. So, alright. Let me sort you guys back up here. Sounds like some FT8 howl going on there. I better check what the FT8 frequency is on 30 meters. Make sure I'm not there. Let's see, I gotta think. Alright. So 10136. Yeah, I'm not there, but I'm above it. Let's see what it sounds like on sideband. Actually, AM. Yeah, I don't really hear anything there, so let's see. Let's turn that amp back on. Make sure, yep, it auto switched to 30 meters. That's one thing I really like about this amp. So, modem, message. I'm actually getting a better SWR on 30 than I was on 40. On 40, I was getting about 1.5, 1.6. I'm actually only getting 1.3 on 30. That's awesome. Alright, so let's throw these earbuds back in. Let's update our spots and get to going. So, let's see. Spot me. I just don't do 30 much for some reason. It's not for any particular reason. What is that? Well, that's annoying. Maybe I'm not using 10143. Alright, so let's see. My Lotus spot is updated. Let's see if my POTUS spot took. Nope. We're just going to do that by hand. 10.143 QSY. Alright. Let's see what the RBN looks like. Oh, my 40 meter spots were looking good. I got out into Phoenix and Utah. It wasn't quite Phoenix, but I mean, a decent spread. Let's see what we get on 30 though. I don't need the N1CC at this park. This is the only park I've actually completed that at. I took an end-fed and strung it up into one of the trees over there, and a tuner, and I was able to knock out every single band, which was awesome. I got someone being nosy. Got Ray in Michigan. K8RLE. KN4CQB. Rich in North Carolina. 579. WX8J, that's a new one. James in Ohio. Thank you, sir. W2. Got it. There we go. Whiskey 4, Papa Juliet Whiskey. Man, 30 is weird. Up and down like crazy. He was 559 when I sent him a report. Now he's 599. N1XK. Michael in Iowa. Whiskey 3, India, Quebec. Thank you, John in Ohio. N3 PM. Michael in PA. KK8A. I think I hear a W in there. Whiskey, India 1, Golf. John in Massachusetts. For HI again. Thank you for the 599 into North Carolina this morning, sir. Let's see what that RBM looks like. Really nothing new to it, which is crazy. Alright, I'm plenty happy with that 1.3 to 1 roughly. So we'll kick that off. I'm not going to plug the Chromebook back in. It's basically fully charged, and I want to save that in case I have to run the amp off of it. Running half a watt out of the 6200 gives me plenty of juice. So I might be able to run it off of the jacker if I need to. All right, I will be right back. I'm going to take a very quick break. All right, we're back at it. I've got my spots already set. I've got my antenna tuned. I'm going to mark my antenna and radio real quick in WRL just to have it in there. All right, so let's call QRL a couple times, even though I spotted there. It's mad about the SWR. That doesn't make any sense. This thing was fantastic. Oh, well, hang on. It's saying that it's like infinite SWR. That makes no sense. It's like it acts like the coax isn't connected. Let me loosen that. And real-time troubleshooting right here in the video. Retighten it. Maybe that's all it is. No? Oh, hang on. There we go. The ATU was on, and when an antenna is resonant and you're using this amplifier, if you have the ATU turned on, it has a fit. I'm sure there's a very specific, scientific, knowledgeable explanation. I'm an idiot, and I don't know why. But if you have the ATU on and a resonant antenna, this thing has a fit. So, yeah, we're good now. 80, 90 watts out, 1.2 to 1 SWR, fantastic. Yep, we're good. So, let's see here. Let's lock that frequency in. QRL. Oh yeah, 80 watts and not a lick of complaint out of this thing. So, make sure that's going. Yep, good. One more QRL. Get these headphones in. All right, I have a feeling I'm about to get blasted because 20 meters is the party band for POTA, so. That's surprising. K4BGB. Ben in Georgia. US-1271559. Oh, he's in Florida. Oh, I've got AGC on. Oops. AGC on this radio really makes a noisy mess. N6PF. Oh, much better. Elliott in California. K8RL. I think I've lost him. KI1H. Got James in Florida. So I'm only averaging 23.5 QSOs an hour so far, and part of that's because I've just been piddling and having fun. Waiting on that screen to reload, look at some of those other stats. N6PA. We got Teodoro in California. I'm sorry, I know I'm butchering that. That's awesome. Put my power in there too. Yeah, I mean, I'm running some power. It's not like I'm barefoot here. But somehow it's just kind of slow going. I gotta pack up in about 15 minutes. Whiskey 4 DET. 599 into Colorado from James this morning. Thank you, sir. K9 something. Boy, he just faded to nothing, didn't he? There is a CME supposed to hit us today, so that may be what I'm fighting too. That is why I am not barefoot today. My map looks really cool. Florida, California, the whole eastern half of the U.S. basically. Whiskey Alpha 2, Sierra Papa Lima. Back to you, Joseph. Five, 8, 9. Unusual, but you know what? That tells me it's an honest RST, and I'll take it. AB4BA. Sorry, Brad, I could not key your name for some reason. I am struggling. 599 into Colorado. $27 in the log so far. I'm trying to learn the proper Roger. I've watched a few of Thomas's videos recently, and he's talked about the proper Roger, and I don't know, it's just kind of fun. K3 VLG. K3 ULG. James in PA. Alright, let's try that proper Roger again before you bud. KU3X. Back to you, Barry, in PA. Five seven. Thank you, Barry. Alright, we're going to use the short CQ now. Save a little time. I've only got a few minutes left before I really need to pack up. KR4IIB. Ariel in North Carolina. Okay, whoever else is in there, you're not getting credit because I did not call you. And this drives me nuts. Because listen, when I call back, I'm going to say thanks for North Carolina. And that person should realize I didn't get them. Whoever that other person is, you just didn't get this park because you were impatient and didn't pay attention to what call sign I was sending. That absolutely chaps my ass. That people don't pay attention. If you're listening to an activator, listen closely to what call they send. I have no idea what call that was or who that was, but they did not get this part. KF7NL. KL7? Robert in North Carolina. We've worked one more time before. Thank you, thank you. Sorry about the rant, but that drives me nuts when people don't listen to the call sign that I'm sending out. I even sent it again and sent the state. And whoever that was still did not listen enough to realize that I was not calling them. I mean, it really ain't much skin off my back. It's really the hunters that you get screwed in that because now you're not getting the credit for a park that you think you're going to. And it's kind of your own fault, so sorry. 83V. Oh, having key issues? That is my first Delaware hunter ever. W2BPL. Christopher in Massachusetts. No, it's funny. Whenever you hunt someone in Delaware, it's so funny because it sounds like they're saying from me, because DE in Morse code is shorthanded as DE. So when someone from Delaware hunts you, it sounds like they're, constantly saying from their, name or whatever, but it's just the state. It's just funny. But that is my first Delaware hunter, so I have to give this HF-009 props. That's a state I don't normally get, and I got it. I need to respot myself on Loda. K4 ISW. A lot of 5.7s this morning. $569 in return. I think that's just that CME and what it's doing to the ionosphere. It's kind of hurting the radio waves, but that is exactly why I'm not out here barefoot today. And I am not usually a high power guy. I really like my QRP, but today is not one of those days, unfortunately. VE3 UXJ. $559 into Ontario. Whiskey 6 Sierra. Yeah, this is definitely the work of the CME that we're getting. That guy's gone. Just faded to nothing. Yeah, we're up to 35. N4 XAT. Thank you so much, Robert in New Jersey. Yeah, we're gonna have to pack up soon, but I'm aiming for 40 at least. The bands are definitely weak today. V2 GT. There's no way that's what I'm hearing. Oh, VE2 GT. Pierre into Quebec. Quebec is not a common province for me. I usually just get Ontario, so that's cool. Again, the 009 putting in work today. And a KI7 NTK. Give you a 559 this morning, James. .559 back from Utah. KE7. KE7 ICU, first Kisu. CBR. Whiskey 7 CBR. Charles in Arizona, second time we've caught on the air. .599. KF0AYY. Ken in Minnesota. Boy, I am struggling or something. I have no clue. I don't know what's going on. W7SKH. Okay, he's back. Okay, Susan, there we go. Sorry, these sirens are distracting me. I'm just not sure why they're going off. It's a little concerning. K2JVB. David in New York. Thank you, sir. KC3RN. Kevin in PA. Whiskey 7 Foxtrot Tango. Okay, Whiskey 7 Tango Foxtrot. Okay, W7TF, James in Idaho. NI5V. Is that not right? NI5V? There it is. Steve in New Mexico. That is a very rare one for me. That's what I thought. Ron in Arizona, N7 barbecue. Oh, that's awesome. Ron, you are a legend in the POTA community, so I'm very glad to get a QSO with you today, sir. VE3HYK. $599 into Ontario. So things have picked up. I'm up to almost 50. That proper Roger is fun. It sounds cool. I like that kind of stutter in there. Thomas, you may have given me a new favorite. Man, it got wild there for a minute. I want to look at my stats because all of my QSOs have been distant. So 35 an hour, 48 total QSOs so far. Hour and a half here. 1836, longest contact, N6PF, 26 states. That is wild. I don't know why, but the web page doesn't show me average distance. It just shows me the longest. My phone shows me the average. I am dying to know what the average is on this activation because 900, 1400, 900, 1500, 500, 900, 1300, 700. They're all long distance. I love the verticals for that. Two more to get 50 and we'll wrap it up. If you've been hearing, this key does quite a bit better than that key. It just, my fingers aren't used to it because I haven't been using it for a while. VA3 KSF. Back to you, Keith in Ontario. Last call. Come on, one more QSO and we're going to wrap it up. I'm out of coffee. I do have water, though, if I get parched. If I had the whole day, I'd pull the dipole out just for something different and see how it does. The wind has died down finally. And the sun's actually making it kind of warm. N6PA. That is actually a dupe. So I am not going to log that. N7HQY. Good Lord. .559 into Arizona from Mr. Terry. N7HQI. Keith. K7 MOA, buddy. I was wondering if you were going to make it. Oh, man, you are the one bug hunter that I absolutely love. Ah, 599 Texas, buddy. There's someone in there calling, but he said something at the same time as Keith, so I'll just send a CQ to... WF0U. AF0E, okay. K2PK. US-12715 into New York. N3 DTF. Daniel in PA. Screw it. Calls are coming. Let's send a CQ. K8RLE. Really a 559. Little QR fading there, but RBN check. Looks like it has. I see a Putikeeg spot. All right. Well, that's 55. All right. I didn't think that anyone would come back to me, but it's worth a try. So that's it. I'm going to wrap this up. I'm not going to bore you guys with that process because it's going to take a minute to clean this mess up. But thank you so much. Let me get you guys situated here. Turn you around. Very long video. This is my longest activation that I have filmed as of yet. And I have to go. My phone is toasted. It is almost dead. So thank you so much for joining me at US-12715. Out here doing some tailgate POTA, as always. One more look. HF-009 on a Gabil tripod, 4 30-meter, I believe it is, radials set out there with speaker wire. X6200 into XPA125, RF320 for you guys to hear me. LifePo 4 for the power. Chromebook to run logging. Coffee to keep me going. Thank you so much for joining me. And until next time, 72s.